All right, Ben has stayed with us to adjudicate whether what has happened in the conclusion of the TYT Fantasy Football Championship was equitable or not. So you begin to get a sense of who won and who didn't. It was, of course, the conversation, myself, versus the Kraken, Tom Hanc, in the finals. And we had a lot of smack talk back and forth, which Ben had refereed before in the past. Steve O had refereed some of the smack talk. My team was dominant throughout the league, throughout the season.
It's weird that the teams that drafted their players did well, and the teams that were on auto pick didn't.
All right, Ben was on auto pick and has been bitter ever since. Next time you might want to make the draft.
Yeah, definitely, no question. There's no bitterness.
Okay, you could have improved your team throughout the year, as I did, and honestly as Tom did. I picked Michael Vick up, for example. That turned out to be pretty good.
I did for 4 weeks, and I was 4-1, but I was a little bit of a nonsense 4-1.
Yeah, you were.
I had too much.
It was done with duct tape.
I had too much to overcome. My quarterbacks were Brett Favre and Vince Young.
It could have been Michael Vick if you made the right pickup. All right. Anyway, I'm just going to stop being a dick towards you because we need to be dicks to one another here, Tom and I. So, and my team was dominant. I had a 100-some-odd point lead in the overall in the season, but nonetheless, that gets wiped off the board. It's an even matchup.
I, of course, can't let anything go. So I will just add that in the 3 leagues that I did draft a team, I made the semifinals in each league and suffered crushing losses in each one of those.
Well, that actually is fitting for this because despite my gigantic lead throughout the season, I suffered a crushing loss. The Kraken has won. In fact, it was released. I gotta have that somewhere here. How can we do this segment and I don't have that ready? That's ridiculous.
That would be unacceptable.
Unacceptable. All right, Tom, you won. What was the final score of our game?
The final score was basically 122 to 108.
All right. So, it was a good contest, spirited contest, but you came out victorious. So, first, release the Kraken. Do some gloating.
Look, you were projected to win by 18 points, according to Yahoo. I was a heavy underdog here. And I want to point out that on December 21st, in the Smack Talk section, I said, my team is underprojected, especially Britt and Charles. And if you look at my roster, Charles more than doubled his point total, and so did Kenny Britt.
Jamal Charles and Kenny Britt. And we had actually made fun of Kenny Britt. And so you deserve all the credit for Kenny Britt delivering.
I made fun of Kenny Britt all year, too. It turns out Kenny Britt's awesome.
I picked him up for the playoffs. And I picked up the Patriots defense for the playoffs, and they got 15 points the first week of the playoffs, and then 24 points.
So that gets to point number 1 in my bitterness, which has to happen in fantasy football.
I want to read directly Tom's trash talk, smack talk, as they call it. My team is underprojected, especially Britt and Charles, and having Phillip Rivers helps cancel out Vincent Jackson, which is nice. Who taught you how to smack talk?
Yeah, that's terrible. Who writes underprojected?
Yeah.
In smack talk.
Did Jews teach you how to smack talk?
I was actually responding to somebody else who posted in our Smack Talk section.
Yeah, and I'm
so
sure
it actually wasn't directly to Cenk.
Dorky.
It was a polite thing for everybody.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Look, the real injustice here was the defenses. I still don't even know how the defenses work in this league.
Yeah.
In my other league, the one is legendary, the one books have been written about. Anyway. What we do is we minus the points for however many points your defense gives up.
Is the word you're looking for.
Or subtract, God bless. Okay, and now that's tough, right? And defense has become very important because of that, but there's some sense to it, right? Here,
we in my league, we subtract half.
Right.
It's the same
I think that's
concept.
probably a better system, honestly, right? In this league, what was happening? If the linebacker winked 3 times, you got a point. Because, what decided this contest was the defenses, right?
There's a 20-point spread in the defenses, 24 for the Patriots and 4 for Cleveland.
If the linebacker winks 3 times, it's actually 2 points.
Oh, I see. Okay, so my linebackers sucked at
But
winking.
Cenk, if it was scored under your system, under the Stableford scoring system, you would have had -3. Tom would have had -3, right? And you would have had -20.
Right, and that would only be a 17-point difference.
As in here, it's 20.
Right, but I wouldn't have gone with Cleveland. I would have then switched to St. Louis.
Right.
But here I thought it was so random, and Cleveland was ranked 11th in this system.
Right.
And they had been doing well all season. I was like, I don't know, I guess they got good winking linebackers.
Right.
So,
I see.
Now,
I see.
of course, it's not. It's sacks, it's interceptions.
And you do lose points. You start with 10 points.
Right.
In the defense, and then
come on.
if the other team scores points,
Okay.
if they score
I have a ruling, please.
Okay.
if they score 28 points,
Cenk
you
won the
get
league.
0. This is nonsense. What is this nonsense?
This ain't right. This ain't right. Okay. The second thing point I wanted to make is my whining, griping, whatever, because that's all it is once you've lost. Is that in our system, what we do, what I think is really fair is that whoever is leading gets points for that going into the matchup, right? So they get, if you're up by if you have a 100-point lead on the person you're playing against, like you scored 100 more points throughout the season, you will get 5 points added to your score. For every 20 points, you get an extra point. If you have an extra
You have
win,
a weighted playoff system.
weighted playoff system, extra win is 5 extra points. So, Tom, what I did was I went back and figured out what would have happened if we were playing under our system. Okay, which I figured to be the more equitable, fair system, right? And it turns out I would have lost. Okay, I would have gotten 12 extra points, and I would have lost by 2 points. Okay, and so when I saw that, I thought, you know what? No. Tom Hanc has
Release the Kraken!
and he has won the league in all due legitimacy. Look, defense is schmeefest. That happens every time. You know, there's some random stuff that happens. Look, my players all sucked that week for whatever reason.
Yeah, he had a bad week.
Yeah, and that's part of life. You know, I thought I had a 60% chance of winning going in, but sometimes 40% wins, right?
Roughly 2 out of 5 times.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and Tom, you put together a great team. You were right on Kenny Britt. You were right on Jamal Charles. You were right in your pickups. And, you know, the whole point in fantasy football is you hang in there, you hang in there. You give
What kind of
yourself a
league
chance
was
to
Kenny?
win.
Oh, I guess he got cut when he got hurt.
He got cut when he got hurt.
Yeah. And he was smart to pick him up.
Yeah, Kenny Britt was on the winning team in our league as well. Your weighted system, I don't like.
Oh, I love the weighted system.
But
I think it's perfectly fair. It gives everybody a chance, but rewards you for doing well throughout the season.
But that's what playoff seeds are for.
Yeah,
that's why you were the number 1 seed and you
But what
played the number
difference does
4.
it-
You crushed. That's why you crushed Armenian Tigress because she was the 4th seed. She wasn't as good, and I had to play
No,
run
I
till
didn't
that.
crush her. She scored 1,000,000 points. I barely got past
Yeah,
her.
but I had to play run till you thought you were going to crush her.
The seeding is
Seeding's
garbage.
irrelevant. Yeah.
Like that's what they do in real sports.
Here's what
Yeah,
the
no, that's true.
here's the way to solve it and what we've done, because I recognized, like many, you know, I had the best record in our league. I had a 4-year run of regular season. We played 14 regular season games. I had a 4-year run of 14 games times 4, so that's 56 games. If I remember correctly, I went 42, 13, and 1 over 4 years. I mean, it was just dominant. And I lost every year in the first playoff game. Every
See,
year,
I hate
every
that.
year. Maybe
you
one,
wouldn't have if you had a weighted playoff system.
I mean, I might have gotten an I don't know. You had a bad week. It was frustrating though. So what we did,
Half the years, I'm
we
saying.
all played. You know, we all put money in.
Right.
Unlike this league. So what we do now is essentially we give the exact same amount of money to the guy who wins the league as to the guy who wins the playoffs.
Oh,
That's
so you
it.
have 2 champions in a
We
sense.
essentially have 2 champions.
You have an AP and a BCS.
You win
or
our
whatever.
league. It's you win the regular season because it's $600.
Oh,
you
wow.
win. You win the fancy bowl, the rotate. I think it's $700. But winning the league is, and of course the same guy might win both, and then he's got a.
Oh,
then he's
yeah,
got a
then
giant.
that's a great reward.
Yeah,
Okay, I
so-
get it. That's not bad
And
either.
that
That's
keeps
good.
the playoff games pure and gives chance for the dramatic upset and so forth.
Right. So in the final analysis, the Kraken has won the league, which makes sense. It was a great name, too, for a team, for the TYT League. We'll do it again next year. Okay, again, 6 of us from TYT, new 6 people. If one of the 6 from the audience had won, they would have stayed in the league. Okay? Now, they didn't, unfortunately, so they get moved out. Next year, we'll have 6 new people in the league. We'll do it all again. And we've decided that there wasn't any money involved, but we are going to do TYT Super Bowl rings. So Tom will get the first Super Bowl ring, and he has a budget to get it made. And then if you play next year, you could have the second one. So
And let me do one last gloat here.
yeah, you didn't do nearly enough.
Since you're both here,
Yeah.
I remember being laughed out of the room earlier this year when I said that Adrian Peterson was at least as good as Chris Johnson. And you two teed off. You were so dismissive.
Yes.
And who finished the season with more points? Was it Adrian Peterson or Chris Johnson? I don't remember.
My guess is if you're bringing it up, that there's some chance it was Adrian Peterson.
That would be correct. Despite the fact that
Okay.
Peterson missed a game, he
right.
still scored more than Chris
But you
Johnson.
know what? Your gloating is mitigated by the fact that you had Adrian Peterson and you did not start him in the final championship game, which to you is an admission by you that you didn't even really believe in Adrian Peterson.
That's because he was injured and because there was no Brett Favre and they were
And
starting
it was a
Joe
mistake,
Webb.
by the way.
Right,
When
yeah,
I
but
saw
I
that
mean,
you didn't start
okay.
Adrian Peterson, I thought I had it locked up.
But I mean,
as a rookie mistake.
No Brett Favre. There was no Vince Young. The Titans quarterback situation was a disaster.
That's
I
true,
mean,
too.
so was the Vikings. But I mean,
And so was
the
the
point
Vikings.
of the conversation though was who do you want to have at the beginning of the year, not how they're going to do. We don't know how they're going to do. At the beginning of the year, the right guy to have was Chris Johnson, and then you hope that Adrian Peterson does better, and he did. It wasn't. I don't recall it being like. No, I wasn't.
No,
I would never.
I believe we were dismissed.
You were dismissive. and I was right.
By the way,
There you go. Okay.
Release the
Arian
Kraken.
most rushing yards ever, or first guy to lead the league in rushing, first undrafted free agent to lead the league in rushing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 1,600 yards for an undrafted free agent.
Of course, he was on my team along with Chris Johnson and Michael Vick and Calvin Johnson and Dwayne Bowe and Pierre Garçon and Vincent Jackson, etc.
No, you had a great.
But you choked in the playoffs.
I choked in the play. I
choked
love
in
when
the playoffs.
you know who used to do that. Last thing, my friend Sujay used to say that all the time. Okay, I guess your players can't perform for you. I'm like, they're not actually on my team. I don't get to do a speech before the games. And he kept saying, okay. The years that he was winning and I was losing, he's like, okay, let me get this right. Okay, is your team bad or are you a bad manager? That's good smack talk.
Yeah.
By the way, Sujay won his 4th championship in our league, and I only have 2, for example. Disastrous. We're never going to hear the end of it. All right, but that's fantasy football for you, and that's the TYT League. We hope you'll join us next year in it. Tom, great job. Congratulations.
Congratulations.